All right, sports fans, how's everybody out there doing? William Martin coming at you one more time here on YouTube with another edition of the 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge Podcast. So, fresh off of yesterday's 7-3 win by the New York Mets over the Los Angeles Dodgers, Citi Field will be rocking tomorrow night for Game 3 of the National League Championship Series. This will mark the first NLCS game for the Mets, home game for the Mets, in 9 years. And the last time that the Mets did have a home game in the LCS, it was the Daniel Murphy show as he was in the midst of one of the greatest postseason runs by a hitter in MLB history. And we've seen the Mets, they've been doing it through the second half of the season. And of course, here into the postseason, they've answered the bell. And of course, they answered the bell once again in game number two yesterday versus the Los Angeles Dodgers. Francisco Lindor, in a way that he's done it so much in the second half of the season, he set the tone with that leadoff home run for the Metropolitans. And of course, that big 5-run second inning, which was highlighted by Mark Vientos's grand slam to put the Mets out in front 6-0. And off of that, they were able to get that much needed split in Los Angeles. But getting the split in LA is one thing. Now the Mets have to find a way to hold serve at home, and it won't be easy against a very good Dodgers team. You look at this Mets lineup for game three, I think they're going to need to try to go out there and get the Dodgers starting pitcher Walker Bueller early in this game. You got to make manager Dave Roberts have to lean on his bullpen once again. We saw yesterday was a bullpen game for the Dodgers as they used 5 different pitchers in that contest. Also on the flip side for the Mets, they're going with Luis Severino on the mound for game number three. Will he be able to give the Mets another quality start? That's going to be very big out there. And of course, the other big question is, and this goes for both the Mets and Dodgers, which lineup is going to be able to put the pressure on the opponent's pitching staff and get into that bullpen first? I think that is going to be key for game three, and it's going to be key for the rest of this series as well. And then another question for the Mets: who is going to be the unsung hero? Because what we've seen during this postseason run, what we've seen coming down the stretch for the Mets to get into the postseason, it seems like it was a different guy, and it has been a different guy on a night-to-night basis. So who's going to be that guy for the Mets in game number three? The Mets, they got to find a way to feed off of that home crowd at Citi Field for game number three. We saw the Mets fans, and you knew this was going to happen. They showed up and showed out in the LDS against the Philadelphia Phillies. You know they're going to do the same thing now. And I guarantee you that the Mets faithful will have a thing or two to say to both Shohei Ohtani and Freddie Freeman throughout their at bats over the next 3 games at Citi Field. Is it time for Jeff McNeil to get that start at second base for the Mets? He's back. He's healthy. You have the rookie Luis Angel Acuna, and then of course Jose Iglesias has been the guy at second base for the most part. Will Carlos Mendoza turn to Jeff McNeil tomorrow? We got to wait and see. Should Brandon Nimmo be the designated hitter for the Mets? I mean, Nimmo, what can you say? He leaves it all out there on the baseball field, but you can clearly see that he's bothered by that foot injury right now. So that's going to be another interesting call for the Mets. I think more than likely they'll have Nimmo start and then have JD Martinez maybe as a DH. We got to wait and see. Will Carlos Mendoza be able to outmanage Dave Roberts? It's one of those things. Dave Roberts, he's been there for so long now as a Dodgers manager. He's kind of been there, done that. Getting to the postseason is just second nature for him. But so far during this postseason run for the Mets, Carlos Mendoza has pushed all of the right buttons. So let's see if he can do it again. Um, Clearly, if you're the Mets, you'd want to say, well, let's try to close out this series at home. Ain't going to be easy. This Dodgers team, too talented, too resilient. You got two very resilient teams. And I mean, you cannot get to this point in the postseason without being resilient. And it's one of those for both of these clubs. With each win, the next one is going to get that much tougher. You know that the Dodgers are going to want to try to respond after losing game two. You know that the Mets want to keep building that momentum. The Dodgers bullpen probably has some type of confidence against the Mets after the fact that, New York did have an opportunity to blow the doors open yesterday and make Dave Roberts go even deeper into that bullpen. That didn't happen. And the Mets have to have confidence after going out there and getting a split. But, you can't just be happy if you're the Mets and just getting a split. You want to try to keep the pressure on the Dodgers, and the Dodgers want to flip the script on the New York Mets as well and try to take the crowd out of that game. And again, it's one of those been there, done that, if you will, if you're the Dodgers. Dwight Gooden is set to throw the first pitch for game number three, rather, to another Mets legend in Darryl Strawberry. I guarantee you that's going to get the crowd into it, and the place is going to be rocking. This is postseason baseball. It's put up or shut up time for everybody involved. The Mets have been answering the bell, but like I said, they still have their work cut out for them if they're going to claim this pennant, because this is a Dodgers team that ain't going away. At the end of the day, I don't see either side finishing it out in the next three games at Citi Field. I think that this series goes back to LA in some shape or form, shape or fashion, whether it's going to be the Dodgers up 3-2 or whether it's going to be the Mets up 3-2. But I don't see either one of these teams winning the next three games and finishing this series out in five games. I think this NLCS is set up to be tremendous. I think we're in the infant stages. There's going to be a lot of back and forth. There's going to be a lot of adjustments from both sides, but nonetheless, let's see who's going to be able to come out and take care of their business in game number three. The Mets definitely want to feed off of that home crowd. The Dodgers want to quiet them. It's going to be easier said than done for both sides, but let's see who has what it takes to get it done. And folks, that is going to wrap it up. And as always, I want to take this time out to thank each and every one of you for tuning into the 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge podcast here on YouTube. I want to take this time out to thank all of you fine folks out there for tuning in. And if you have not already, please feel free to subscribe to this channel. Now, if you're on the X, formerly known as Twitter, please feel free to follow me at 300 Pounds of Sports. And like I always say, if you follow me, it will be my pleasure to follow you right back. There's also the sports discussion group on Facebook at the Sports Depot 365. Now, you can check it out. Drop a line and be a part of one of the better sports debating sites going on social media. So, once again, fine folks, my name is William Martin, and I am signing off. And I'm saying take care and have yourselves a wonderful day.